Good afternoon, Collective, and welcome into my channel, Keeper of the Reaper. If you're new here, welcome to the weirdness. It's going to be exactly that. If you happen to like what I have to offer, please like, share, subscribe. I'd love to have you be a part of the Reaper crew. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for finding something in me to return to. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, the main thing that I've been channeling today that pushed me to get a video out to you guys is Source started channeling messages about how a lot of us don't look like what we are. Not in a bad way, but in a very unassuming way. And we don't look like what we've been through. And any part of what we have been through, we wear it very well, okay? And Source was wanting me to touch on, kind of how that's being handled in the spiritual aspect of things. Holy crap, my camera went wonky. Let me fix that. Boom. There we go. 111 on the timer. Haha. Anyway. But yes. So many of you are very unassuming in the flesh. And it's quite contrary to the rank that you hold in the spiritual realm. And so I'm going to dive in and see kind of what Spirit, Source, Universe have to offer regarding this, what they want you to know, and how the weirdness can help kind of give us some insight, because there has been a lot of bit of an uproar in the spiritual aspect of things, just because many of us are unassuming. Many assume that we could be treated some sort of way, or that we're whatever. Anyway, we have Bina, left eye knowledge. The Source is telling me some of you may have grown up in areas around a lot of people who are like very ignorant, not very bright as far as like the use of language and the choices they make and stuff. And in order to blend in, many of us have adapted to be able to communicate with those that are the closest to us, right? But the knowledge that you hold, the wisdom that you hold, is quite the opposite of what people would assume that you have. And that is part of our secret weapon. Part of my goon squad, you know this. Let's see what else. Here we go. Zachriel, Angel of Memory. A lot of us, our DNA holds memory of our origins and so on. And we've had to learn to blend in, because those who we were raised around, brought up around and stuff, would never in a million years understand. And some of us have had to learn the hard way what happens when you try to open up about stuff like that to individuals like that. And just a confirmation for those of you who have been asking, it is time to go ahead and let yourselves be seen, let yourselves be known. We have Duma, Angel of Dreams. Right. Okay. So you also might be having dreams a lot. Very vivid, kind of cryptic dreams. They stand out, and you may not necessarily always understand what the symbology means. For instance, like you could have a dream of very vivid, like going to a carnival as a kid or something, and getting on a carousel, and as you're going around the carousel or something, you see your parents waving at you, and as you start to go around again, like all of a sudden you realize they're not there and you're lost or whatever. Or you're one of my favorites that I hear about a lot is being in a house, right? And the house seems familiar, but you've never been there before. And it's full of hallways and rooms and windows, and but all these are very symbolic. And there's a lot of wisdom if you know what to look for, like especially dreams of houses. Card number 58, Stag Spirit, take the lead, and that's going to go with left eye knowledge. It's very symbolic of like your internal structure, your psyche. how your conscious and unconscious mind interact with each other. Sacral, angel of memory. And like if there's a lot of hallways and rooms, it's like very indicative of distractions or going from one path to another. But great sources wanted me to mention also, there's a lot of you who are learning how to tap into different dimensions. We have card number 36, Koi Fish Spirit, there's always an up, and that goes with Sacral, Angel of Memory. Okay. Give me just a second while Okay. So a lot of you are having dreams, and some of the stuff is indescribable. Like it's familiar to you, but you don't have a way to describe it to anybody. You identify it by the way it feels. And you're actually being able to tap into different dimensions, different timelines, be it ones of yourself, past lives, parts of yourself from other planes and dimensions, of being able to navigate your past lives and be able to tap into past life memories through your dreams. Nice. That's really cool. So you guys be on the lookout for that. I've had a lot of experience with that myself, and it can get confusing because you'll have dreams of things that are so familiar to you, and you wake up and all of a sudden you have all this knowledge and awareness of something, but you know for a fact, like in this body, in this life, in this time, you haven't experienced that. And then so let's say you're just like, whatever, I'll look this up about it. Come to find out it was a thing. Or you learn something about something from school or through research, whatever, watching YouTube stuff, and you have a dream about it, but what's revealed to you is slightly different, or oftentimes quite contrastly different to what they're putting out. And that's because our history has been fucked with. And you're remembering the truth, okay? I'm going to be doing a video about Atlantis. I'm going to pull some of my best notes that I have, and I'm going to do a whole video on that. And it'll make a lot of sense. Alright, then we have card number 15, Lovers, for left eye, knowledge, and then take the lead. So yesterday in my video that I put out, some of us, our divine counterparts, are going to be coming in, and some of them are already here, but they're like present within us, if that makes sense. Call that whatever the fuck you like, put whatever label you want on it. Some people liken it to schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder, but it's very different, and it's divine nature and the identities that we hold within us that have actually come to us. Like a lot of people know it as like a walk-in soul or stuff like that. And in a few videos back, I also spoke more on how the divine counterparts come through and how emergence plays a factor in that. I thought a card came out, but it didn't. Sacral, Angel of Memory, Koi Fish Spirit, there is always enough. Doop. There we go. Official person, cool. So we've had something like this very similar before in that, actually, in the message I got about the divine counterparts and having memories of them in your dreams and stuff. My camera is glitching bad. I know why. If you know, you know. Put it that way. So do my Angel of Dreams with Canary Spirit. Sing your own song. Motherfuckers have been coming out of the woodwork like crazy, trying to hone in on the stuff that I put out to everybody. And it's important, guys, never show fear. Period. Thoughts. Right, you're in your thoughts a lot about the stuff about yourself that's being revealed to you in your dreams right now. it could be regarding you specifically and your path, or it could be, your divine soulmate coming in to try to make themselves known to you, for those whose divine soulmates are just kind of breaching through, so to speak. And you, like I said, apply this internally first. Those who are in my collective, I think you understand it. Like, I put these messages out for the ones that they are intended for. So if it resonates with you, and if not, over time I'll get there to help break it down and explain it better. But I did a lot of outpouring of information in my first few videos, so you might want to check those out if you find yourself getting a little lost in my more recent videos. I don't like to repeat too much because it takes a lot of time and it just, yeah, anyway. But with Let I Knowledge, Bina, and the Stag Spirit take the lead with the Lovers. Like I've said, your divine counterparts, a divine union of any kind. It doesn't always have to be something romantic, but it's like part of an agreement, a soul contract, if you will, of an energy, a co-hosting energy that comes in to help you. And some of you are going to be taking the lead as far as this experience on this realm goes and driving the body and stuff. Especially those of you who have been aware of your counterpart within ever since you were a child, and they've kind of been at the forefront the most as you've kind of come in here and there to navigate this and that or whatever. Anyway, it's like learning to drive a vehicle and you have like an instructor riding with you, okay? So some of you are going to be taking the lead, especially with the emergence point coming through. And your divine counterpart, like I said, a part of them will always be within you. But also, and when the emergent point kicks off, you're going to be taking the lead inside your vessel, as they will have their own to navigate. Now, what kind of vessel, I can't say, and I'm not going to. I don't want to get too far into that. That's between you and your soulmate, right? Okay, and then I do want to touch on the definition, or description rather, that the book has for Bina. So the left eye knowledge, the third emanation, a flow of light that pours into the world, a candle whose flame may light another without diminishing its own. And she is the white orb that illuminates the way forward, and she sits atop the pillar of severity, heading the feminine aspect of the diagram. So it could also be indicative of the feminine aspect taking the lead in like the whole collective energy. And it doesn't have to be like biologically female, but it can be like that feminine energy, because like I've said so many times, that feminine aspect has been so repressed. Pick up any type of religious text or ancient text and it will speak volumes about that, even in, like, anyway, found in learning, shared experience, and creation. Give me 1 second, my youngest daughter came in. Okay, sorry about that. She wanted orange juice. But anywho, back to where we were, with the feminine energy, and how I was talking about how a lot of us don't look like what we are. Many of the feminine vessels, the biologically female vessels, have had, especially the ones that are in like certain, if you know, if you have a certain position spiritually, that you might be aware of your counterpart that has taken the lead thus far. It's a very masculine energy, and it comes to the forefront because it helps raise us up, the feminine, and keeps the feminine protected and safe until she is able to rise and step forward. The whole thing, like, they say, like, Christ was God in the flesh, right? Well, yes, in a masculine aspect, I guess you could parallel that. But there hasn't been a feminine that has stepped forth as goddess in the flesh, right? So that's what's going to be part of this emergence also, is the feminine godhead will step forth but the masculine doesn't want the feminine to follow suit in the self-sacrificial kind of thing that had been laid forth. And so, like I said, it's been a learning thing from the beginning, for everyone involved. I really hope I'm making sense. Like I said, I ramble. It's a part of the way that I channel. For those who get it, anyways, an angel of memory, there is always enough with official person. So this is basically telling me that don't worry about when that emergent point hits about losing any of that deep interconnection you have with your counterparts. They will also have their emergence as well, and there will be shared memory between you two, but also there's going to be so much space in the collective repository, so to speak, for memory in and of itself. That's part of this big energetic cleansing that's going on. We'll touch more on that in just a second. Let me get to what the book says about this real quick. It has a bunch of really, really useful little tidbits that I think are important. Okay, so eternally lost, Zachriel carelessly winds and unwinds the threads of thought. Memory has no worries or concerns. You are safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by as well. It is warm and safe within the fog of Zachriel. All you knew greets you, welcomes you, longs for you. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. Pouring memory into the cup of forgetfulness makes room for new memory. Zachriel is the angel of all memory, even memory lost. If you take something with you, you must also leave something behind. Signs are a knot, a loom, or a maze. And when I think of maze too, I think of like a labyrinth, and you can think of your mind kind of as a labyrinth, so to speak. And being able to navigate your way through your own mind, and being kind of able to unthread those knots where memory has been being taken up and misplaced and distorted through time, because that's also a big part of this emergence point is the DNA strands. There's DNA activations going off like crazy. Some are more subtle than others, and there's a lot to that. And guys, I'm eventually going to be covering a lot on that, but it gets really deep, and so I really don't want to like lose anybody in getting like technical with it. So I'm trying to figure out ways to kind of narrow it down and get like little key points to be able to break down and describe in a way that it's going to make sense, because it took me a really long time to get to a point where I understood it. And then like anyway, whatever. Moving forward, do we have Duma, Angel of Dreams, Canary Spirit, Sing Your Own Song, and Thoughts? Right, so when it comes to your own personal identity and the identity of your counterpart, like I said, we're going into the stage of coagulation in regard to the alchemical process. And if you're wanting to apply that spiritually, which I think is wise, but that's just my opinion. Everybody has one. So it's like I was saying with making sure that you know who you are, like reflect deeply, pay attention to what you're dreaming, who you're dreaming of and why. These are all very, very good questions to sit and ask yourself, and listen to your inner voice. Like if you don't understand what something means, say something you dreamt about, and you go to ask, like ponder, oh, well, I wonder what this house meant. Instead of like waiting for your forward mind to respond, start listening to that subtle subconscious voice, because the dreams are the realm of the subconscious. And so being able to give that subconscious feminine aspect room to step forward and take the lead of being able to give you these descriptions, and being able to trust in that voice, what it speaks to you, is a key component of this. And it also has to do with like being able to sing your own song, bring your own seat to the table, so to speak, for yourself and your counterpart. Nobody wants to end up in a situation where they they've assumed all this stuff, and when the emergence point happens, somebody gets their soulmate fucked up, and then they're like, well, why the fuck is so and so with it? Guys, it's important. So for Duma, she is the impetus, the doubt of false reality, to crack the shell, keeping you from the truth. When the world shifts around you, Duma is your guide. The world is stranger than you believed it to be, and so are the occupants. The signs to look for are a reflection in water, a golden cage, and an eye. Now, oddly enough, we have Bina here, the left eye of knowledge, okay? It's a very beautiful way that Source is kind of revealing here and confirming what I've been talking about with the feminine aspect, because one of the signs is like the eye, and then we had eye come out, the left eye, and it happens to be the feminine aspect that sits atop the pillar of severity. And then all this stuff about looking unassuming, not exactly looking like what you've been through or what you are. We've got Diviner here. Seer of the unseen, foresight, insight, and cosmic connection. Yeah, the subconscious, the conscious mind rose first. And despite all the attempts to bring it down, it was able to resurrect and remain. And then now the subconscious is having its turn, and yeah, it's a very similar process. And my hybrids out there, then we have journalist, chronicler of stories, reporting, interview, inquiry, and promotion. So some of you also might be getting promoted in your spiritual seats, however that applies to you. Either that or your soulmate also, in which y'all, you guys kind of paradoxically mirror each other. So keep that in mind also. And then we have employee, worker, service, consultation. Right. Okay, so a lot of you might be understanding that you're getting foresight or insight into things that have yet to come from your dreams, your counterpart working with you. And you can think of that as like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind also working together. For those of you who don't have a divine counterpart that you're aware of just yet, you can think of it as your conscious mind and subconscious mind working together to help your forward mind be able to tune in and hold in that memory space during your conscious waking time, where the forward mind is the most active and is the most at the forefront. Oh, we have lover, love, romance, reproduction, and infinity. Anyways. But out of love, and if you don't have a spiritual seat yet, it could also be, kind of letting you know to listen to your subconscious more, because, that's part of what we're doing is we're raising up the consciousness. It's one of the biggest, greatest jobs and honors of the vessel itself, is to be able to host divinity within it and be a reflection of that divinity that is within. Now, with everything that happened, there is flesh. Flesh is very powerful. Especially flesh that becomes aware of itself. If it becomes aware of itself before that which is occupying it, before both aspects are risen up, it can become corrupt in its ways, because it isn't being guided appropriately. And so it's like a kid growing up in the streets and having to learn the rough way to do everything, and then all of a sudden stepping into a whole different way of existing and understanding that, oh shit, maybe I don't have to be in this hyper cruel survival type mindset anymore. And it is hard to break. Okay. And then with the subconscious, you guys making sure to take the time to analyze your dreams, understand, take risks, Risk taker of fate, speculation, addiction, debt, and fortune. We have gambler. Now this also could be talking about the flesh in itself. The flesh in and of itself, once it becomes aware of itself, you know, it also is subject to the polarities, right? So it could just by nature be prone to continuously getting itself into precarious situations and not utilizing any wisdom or anything to prevent itself from running into that again. And it could also be that it prefers to learn and try to, you know, work through the natural process of elimination on its own. And one of the best ways, because the body and the subconscious are connected, they come as a pair. And so you could think of like before the forward mind came to be, it was the subconscious and the body. It's like a mom and a kid, okay? And then here comes daddy step in, right? So with that being said, a lot of the flesh has beaten down its mother, so to speak, and the forward mind for a long time also helped partake in that process. Now, it's not to say that all did that. I'm talking just how we got to where we are, okay? And then, so as the masculine aspect has kind of been witnessing more than observing, giving space for the subconscious to step forward without trying to criticize or be hyper analytical or critical of what is presented to it, the body too starts to understand like the role of the mother, the feminine aspect of everything. And the feminine aspect, the one that has risen to the Godhead state, and we'll find out who that is, because she will step forward in the flesh too, because she's raised her flesh up with her. And anyway, yeah, feminine energy has been seen as feral and wild and sort of unruly, and it is, but it's naturally supposed to be that way. It's beautiful. All right, we have civil servant, guardian of public good, public official, administrative duty, public administration, right? So this is where a lot of those who are in flesh that has yet to become aware of itself as it starts to awaken into itself. This is the role you're going to be starting off with spiritually. Okay, because it's a process for everybody. You have your diviners who are, you know, the basic sector who embrace the feminine and give it a voice and a platform through which to speak. But not all diviners practice that which that they preach, so to speak. So that sector also is like in a journalist position, right? It's still an employee of the divine. And I'm just using metaphors here. It's still an employee of the divine. They're still doing a certain sector of work, which is good and grand, you know, but it's like being a newscaster. So this is what's going on in the spiritual realm. It's how it pertains to you. You have readers that do like the soap opera aspect of it, and they only cover, you know, the romantic stuff, and you have some that only cover the karmic stuff, and you know those things are fun, but they're very easy to get kind of lost in. And you have the flesh, a lot of the flesh that walks around is working as it becomes aware of itself, of someone who's just trying to be a guardian of the public good, trying to show that they can set the example for that which is awakening within them, right? And that way when the Godhead steps forward, because that divine mind has come together, both masculine and feminine, as well as the flesh, all having been risen up together and gone through all the processes to get to that point, okay? I know this is a lot of information, and I've tried to get it out in a way that's understandable, and how it pertains to this whole thing of like spiritual prejudice, spiritual profiling, things like that. In regard to the spiritual profiling aspect, what do you want? How are we going to flow that into this here? Okay, barber. Okay. So, artists of tresses, trimming, beautification, adornment, fashion, right? Okay, so the civil servant, the flesh is becoming aware of itself and giving a platform for the divinity within to speak, to begin to reflect it. You raise your body up to teach it how to adorn itself in divinity. Okay? A lot of us don't look like what we are, and that's okay. That's a good thing. But it does lead to being underestimated a lot, but being underestimated is a superpower. Because, I mean, who would think? You know, like you could be something so powerful, and it's a way to keep you safe. So, in that context, those who take on the roles of, you know, the civil servants, the diviners, you have branches everywhere. Branches of divinity are everywhere in the way that they're reflected in this external realm. And when the Godhead steps through, both feminine and masculine, in the flesh too, because the flesh deserves its rightful spots, because it has taken a part in this process. It'll start to become more clear and I think you guys have started noticing too, those of you who resonate with what I'm speaking about, how those who try to profile you, assuming that, you know, you're just sweet, you're to this, you're to that, you would never respond this way or that way. Karma hits back hard on them. We have Avenger, memory, resolve, hatred, plotting. Okay? The flesh does have a predisposition to want to avenge. Okay, which is different than vengeance. And that is, especially in regard to his mother. The body has such a close bond to its mother, and, you know, for a long time, it was acting out as a result of, like, coming to find out that so much has been hidden, that they aren't what they were told that they are, and understanding that its own nature was used against it, and thus the divinity within it. Okay? And divinity itself has had to also take a step back and be like, oh shit, you're right. They used your natural, you know, way of existing against you, and we may not have taken into accountability, you know, our role in that, and how we could have, you know, all this is like, it's coming together. But you do have some of those who have been corrupted within the flesh. And don't worry, if the flesh has become corrupt, the divinity within will be given, you know, new vessels, whatever, and those vessels will be handled accordingly. And those vessels, through which the divinity has abused for whatever reason, will also be receiving their justice. They're not going to be punished because of their occupants and their choices. We have boss. Master of wealth, risk, investment, management, leader. And so, like I was talking about, that which is being revealed to have been responsible for this getting so out of hand. Okay, that Avenger aspect is pinpointing who this is. Because it's made everything focus around gain, 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 gain. Instant gratification on this, and even to the point of the inner aspects that even end up triggering the divine, because when they step into the flesh, a lot of it seems like the memory of all of it just goes, no, but it is there. It is there, but you have to raise your body up to be able to unlock that aspect, which is why they've repressed the feminine, because the feminine holds the key to unlock that inner vault, to unlock the DNA, so to speak, because it oversees the flesh. It is the mind of the flesh. Okay, all the parasympathetic nervous system, all that involuntary muscle movements, the subconscious keeps all of that running in the background while the forward mind comes out to play. And it's like leaving a woman at home with her kid all day while so-and-so gets to go out and do whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's just, oh, dude, my right eye just started going, and, you know, anyway. For those who know, you know. Alright, and then we got learner, exactly. seeker of knowledge, inquisitive, progress, aspirant, and explorer. Right. So a lot of the body, as the forward mind has given more space for the subconscious to step forward and present things, the flesh is present in that also because of its shared bond with the subconscious. And it's very inquisitive, it's very curious by nature, very childlike, just like the subconscious. And so it too is subject to the influence of, hey, I would like to learn more about that. And that's why it's so important to be mindful of what you feed your subconscious mind. Letting too much hyper-analytical data into the subconscious can also cause it to feel alienated from itself because of its whimsical nature. Where the fuck do you think magic comes from? And I'm not talking about the illusionist kind. I'm talking about like the real shit. Because it is real. It is real. It is real. Anyway. Somebody else's idea of what is real would come out of this feminine of imposing upon her that which is real, that we could truly see all there is to see. We have the magician. Channeler of power, potential, magic, illusion, and manifestation. We were just talking about magic. So if everybody's wondering, well, everybody's got their head up in the clouds. So many of these spiritual people are so weird talking about all these fantasy creatures and fairies and this and that. And well, there's a reason for that. Forever young. Vitality, innovation, potential, and growth. But see, here's the thing, is being sharing this vessel with the forward-thinking mind, which is very, the forward-thinking mind is like, you can think of it as an elder. And so the subconscious, through the experience over so long, although she has this eternal youth aspect to her, that does not mean that she cannot learn and grow and evolve also in a way that does not violate or defile her eternal youth aspect. And being able to balance that out, she's coming of age, so to speak. And that's what the masculine had in mind when he stepped forth into the emergence point and was able to be like God in a flesh body, okay? It's been this whole thing that's been going on in the background. A lot of people haven't caught on to, but it's beautiful. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you gonna find out. And then we have hunter, stalker of prey, aim, strategy, pursuit, and survival. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the story of Oedipus, but that whole thing of like, he loved his mom, right? Now, I want you to put this into perspective, though. Let's try to be as mature as possible about this, because it's hard for me to. But you have to understand the level of confusion. So, the subconscious and the body have had such a bond, right? And there has been so much interference that has cut them off of their awareness of the nature of their bond, right? And so, especially how the imagination, when anybody sits and daydreams, like especially about their goals, about a lover or whatever, in their mind, everything is beautiful, everything is perfect, and the body is so susceptible to all that stimuli, that all the feeling involved in these beautiful thoughts, these beautiful dreams, these beautiful fantasies, and one can adorn themselves however they see fit in the realm of the imagination, correct? And so in order to, it's like the body and the subconscious had this kind of bizarre love going on, and I'm not going to try to call it too far bizarre because, they came as a pair for a reason, but, and it's just an archetypal description of, that a way to be able to describe and elaborate in a way that can be understood the relationship between the flesh and the subconscious. Doesn't mean that she's literally like, mama, it's, kind of like Peter Pan and Wendy, right? Like Wendy taught the Lost Boys a lot, but she wasn't their actual mother. Same thing with Peter. Like, she taught him a lot. She told him beautiful stories and all this other stuff, but she wasn't like his mother, like his literal mom, okay? And so you have to also think of how the forward mind and the flesh kind of started to have this kind of butting of heads, so to speak, especially as the flesh began to rise into its own awareness. And it was like a very, kind of like two dudes try to hone in on one. You know what I mean? Anyway, there's been a lot that's had to be put into proper perspective. So this could be alchemized appropriately and manifested outwardly in a way that would not cause further issue. Traveler. Seeker of horizons, adventure, experience, long journey. It has been a long journey, okay? And that hunter aspect has been there. I mean, it's like I said about, like, be the bunny. For the masculine. Like, femmes, for your masculine, be the bunny. Kind of utilize that cat and mouse. But make sure they don't take it too fucking far, because there is a use for everything. We have bartender, master of libation, small talker, alleviator, exactly. So you can think throughout this long journey, for this hunter, there has been an aspect that's come into play to be able to tell stories to this hunter about this beast, this fierce, ferocious, wild beast. Beautiful and majestic, and it's blah, 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 blah. And they got this hunter all like, I'm gonna get this damn thing. Blah, blah. What if the hunter finds out it's a fucking woman? What a beautiful twist, huh? Like I said, it's all one big love story. You just have to be able to put the aspects into their appropriate, and your subconscious knows this. Your subconscious is aware of this. And the more that you're able to do exercises with your subconscious in a healthy way that does not impose upon the flesh and the forward mind in a way that would traumatize the flesh by trying to manifest something outwardly too soon, or hurt it by unlocking a certain part of the DNA strand that, you know, is supposed to go in a certain sequential order, and thus cause irreparable damage to the vessel, and thus cause like a total overload of the forward conscious mind, because it has to be able to rationalize things. Respecting the nature of each other's being and how it makes the whole is like the sweet spot, right? This is what my mom called holy mumble. It's a lot of channeling that's very fast and it comes out, and I'm trying my best to put it into perspective. We have singer, resonance, moving hearts, harmony, emotion, performance. Exactly. So utilizing the power of all aspects combined to bring things forward. The very first manifestation happened that way. It was so pure and beautiful. And the act of singing and stuff, and it's like, in Atlantis, they had these building structures that were resonant chambers. And you could have a whole community of people come and sit, and it was down to even the way that these buildings were built, the geometry used in the blueprints and everything, and it would have these harmonic chambers, and there would be these certain frequencies and such, and everybody in there would sing, okay, and the power of that resonance echoing out, and then having that harmonic echo back, and that it would build upon itself, right, and it would reach a certain vibration. And that's energy in motion, emotion, energy in motion. And when it starts to resonate through all of us, like if we were all sitting in one of those rooms or whatever, that's how they healed illnesses and stuff, is they knew, my left ear's ringing, they knew energy on such a level to where they knew how to unlock things on a cellular level. They could unlock things in through DNA. Just by the frequency and being able to match frequency or slightly shift something and be able to vibrate out that ears ringing louder again. being able to do that in a healthy way, and everybody was in on this together. They all had this understanding, and that's why Atlantis was such a powerful empire. And they didn't give in to this whole thing of spiritual prejudice and profiling and like leaving certain groups out for this reason or that reason. Like, you had beings that were like draconian, full blown in appearance, internally, everything. And then you had Lyrans and other, even hybrids, like Octurian hybrid. You would have, like, there were all kinds of draconian hybrids also. And they all were able to coexist with this base level of understanding. The subconscious, the feminine aspect was mature, you know? And there was a hard hit, so to speak, to the subconscious that knocked her into this like state of a coma almost. I don't think I'm going to go on any further about that. What matters now is she's healing. She's home. She is going to be stepping forth because we have clergy, guardians of faith, religion, morality, compassion, sacred mission. Some have had the sacred mission of raising up this feminine aspect. Others have had the sacred mission, or what they see as sacred, of keeping it suppressed and subservient because of it keeps the flesh farm going, so to speak, for the masculine aspect, to stay in power. And so much of the masculine has really stepped up and seen the depravity in that. And it is the most honorable recognition. You have to understand the humility, the maturity, the mercy, the love. To have that power and have held it for so long and be like, you know what, it's not fucking worth it. Doing this to her, doing this to the body. It's not worth it. I'm still missing. I keep wondering why I'm not feeling satisfied in life. It's because God misses his magic. The muse, the source of that divine spark, that something that keeps that eternal being satiated and good with itself, not having to resort to depravity and all this other shit because it got caught up in an abuse cycle too. Anyway, pull a couple more, and then we have spiritual seeker. Devotee of the inner path, meditation, insight, practice, right? So, start putting your subconscious feelers out. Start practicing letting that subconscious voice be louder and louder and louder within yourself. You're not going crazy. On the bottom of the deck we have driver, like the vessel is starting to be raised up. It's like I was saying, because so many of us, people wonder why things are going on the way that they're going on and all this. And so many, it's not just our forward mind, it's not just our subconscious, but our very body seems to have this urge to be a part of this, to step up and ask for guidance, show me, I'm willing to cooperate with you, just show me what you need. I want to take part in this too. I want to be adorned in your image, in your greatness, right? Because it has seen through the subconscious and has felt through that energetic bond with the subconscious of how all this would feel, having that magic back, having that power back that's not defunct but fun, just truly fucking fun, guys. I'm not talking about the defunct bullshit that the rest of the population has deemed as fun. Because it's not fun for the rest of us. We didn't come here to slave away for money. We didn't come here to use up the fucking planet and all the beauty it has to fucking offer just to try to go on to the next one. Well, look out in the fucking solar system. Tell me how many you fucking see that are left. And if they're further out, tell me how the fuck you think you're going to get there. Especially with the Van Allen belt. Does anybody really know why that's there? It's so we can't go somewhere else and fuck it up. That belt, that kind of chastity belt, it will be undone for things to come in. There's a whole host out there observing everything, all of it, core aspects, all of it, every bit of it, learning all the time, never sleeping, never resting, observing, witnessing. And just because the flesh doesn't look like what others would assume it should, for what it is, you guys never underestimate another. You might think you know, but you don't. And it can be deadly. And it can also be the most liberating experience too. So when you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, well, I don't look like a god, I don't look like a goddess. Maybe not yet. But trust the process, because it's coming. And you'll see. We all will. Those of us who, we've been here for a long time, guys. Some of us, this is most definitely not our first go round, and we know what we're here for. And, you know, those of you who are starting to remember your mission, take this as confirmation. Remember your tribe, man. Remember when the angels and the goons used to sit and fucking around the campfire and tell amazing stories and laugh for hours. How beautiful it was to see two opposite ends of polarity start to come together and fall in love. And how it almost became contagious for the rest of us to watch it. How it got everybody's heart skipping a beat. And we remembered just how sweet love truly is. How good it felt to be able to stand in your power and not have to compete to the person next to you. Compare yourself. If you wanted to have fucking horns and fangs and fucking what the hell ever, and the person next to you is sitting there looking like a fucking butterfly pixie, and it's just like, hey, we're cool. Not always trying to shift forms to one-up each other, but just being comfortable with what the fuck you are. Those memories are going to start rising. Take heed to them. Listen to them. Know who you are. Know thyself. And as you get to know thyself, to thine own self be true. I hope this message helps someone out there. Happy reaping. Love you all.